Today is December 26th. Cutch is back. No one's surprised, sure. This was before Christmas, but is this it? Let's talk about it. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Let's go. Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and well, we said we might be here, we might not, and we're here. I'm here. Jake's not here, but you still got me. Jake is at a place. He's traveled. I think there's games and stuff like that tonight, so not able to join in, but here we are. We got it. Just fixing a couple things right here. We got it. We got it. We're good. Merry Christmas to everybody who didn't listen to Sunday's episode. We're here. It's the day after Christmas. It still feels... these times are always weird for me because I don't know if I still feel like I'm in the break. Like, I worked today, so I don't know if you guys, did you work? Are you working the rest of this week? Do you have the whole week off? I don't know. Let me know. We got a Boylan's vanilla cream again. Got a lot of these, so you'll see a lot of these. Hey, we got a little bit of a Christmas gift. We said we'd be on if something happened. I was kind of hoping it would be something different than this. However, it's Andrew McCutchen re-signing with the Pirates for another year, another $5 million. Seems like the standard for what we're going to see until Cutch retires. I would think, anyway. So there we are. Cheryl's in here. She said she got some fun gadgets for Christmas, but the grandkids were super excited about their gifts. We're kind of in that stage right now, and I'm not calling you out here. I'm not calling you out here, but we're in that stage right now where, like, we get so many things for our kids and we have to scale back because then the grandparents get more than what we got. So I don't know if that's the case. But we do. The grandparents will double what we get our kids. So, which I guess makes sense, right? Because we have 2 sets of grandparents and, you know, all that. So when was the Cutch signing actually announced here? Do we have a, why do I not have the date right in front of me? It was announced because I know it's not Monday, right? So we've got, I had it, literally had it pulled up. We got to get back to the announcement because I feel like it was Christmas Eve. Yeah, 23rd, Christmas Eve. That all makes sense. No, 23rd is not Christmas Eve. You got, see, this is why Jake sometimes needs to be here to say like, hey, bro, that's not the case. December 23rd. Oh, yeah, that's right. We went down to Triple Play in Westerville, Ohio. Triple Play Sports. I think it's just called Triple Play Sports Cards. Either way, we went down there, Katie and I, and it was after the signing. So we were looking around at some different cards, obviously trying to get our hands on another Chrome pack and weren't able to do that. But they did have the Cutch bobblehead where he was getting his MVP. He had just signed. That came home with me. No possible way the lighting is good enough for you to see that behind me, but it's right there. If you're looking at the video screen, I need to do something with those. I keep going the wrong way. It's that way, right there. Anyway, I need to do something with that back there and get more lighting on what's on there instead of that one just on top so that something can be seen. Because we've got quite a bit of stuff back there. The Cutch bobblehead, the Cutch from this year with the City Connect this year or last year, a Cutch Funko, Key Bryan, Bobble Funko, another Cutch bobblehead, Bednar. We got Teak. We got an old school Funko or an old school bobblehead. We got a Clemente. I think that's it. One of those old cans from one of the World Series. Then over here we got Miles Davis and then the Sandlot guys. Jackie Robinson, Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, there's some stuff. Anyway, I added Rivers Cuomo and Matt Foley to the mix of my Funkos for Christmas. So, yeah, fun time. So anyway, get caught back up here. Where am I at here? Yeah, so let's talk about Cutch. I mean, it's obviously this is the thing that we knew was going to happen. This is the signing that we knew was going to happen. 1 year, $5 million. Nobody's surprised, except for anybody who's excited about this. Might be a little bit surprised at the reaction to it and the way that there are some people who aren't real excited about it. And I get it from time to time. I get it. I've heard the arguments. I don't care if Cutch is playing, he should be playing in Pittsburgh. That's my opinion. $5 million, extremely affordable, not even close to expensive. He's probably, 20 homers last year. As far as OPS plus, only Bart with less time, Cruz and Reynolds were better. I don't have room for saying that. I mean, literally 4 hitters that were above average for OPS plus last year. Well, I guess 5, right? Technically 5, but the 104 was Jason DeLay, who had 19 plate appearances. So we're not counting that. Nick Gonzalez is the next closest with 96. So just below average. And we know that, his path there and how he was about average last year. Good with runners in scoring position, but about average overall. So we understand what's going on here. I mean, he is a 105. RBAT Plus, which is Baseball Reference's version of WRC Plus, which it carries different things. There's a little bit of differences in what OPS Plus is versus what WRC Plus, weighted runs created plus, is, and it's more that has to do with actual runs. It's the offensive plus stat that will feed into WAR and things like that. They're essentially they're close to the same. And most of the time, those numbers are very close. Like Joey Bart had a 120 OPS plus, had a 121 RBAT plus, and I'm not sure what his weighted runs created, but they're always really close. So anyway, he's still right there, and he's still in that top 4 as far as RBAT plus goes. It's tied with O'Neal Cruz. So O'Neal Cruz is going up. And sure, McCutchen's probably going down, but 20 home runs last year. I just don't see a place where I'm complaining about that. I would have expected his last year to be closer to 12 or 15 homers. Not 20. That's just where I'm at. I mean, he had 12 the year before in less games, but still it looked like it was going down. 17 back in 22. And so you kind of felt like, okay, 17, 12, we're going down. Maybe this is it. Maybe he signs for 1 year and does something different, talking about 24, does something different where halfway through the year he sort of takes a back seat. Maybe he finishes with 8 to 10 homers, but he got number 300 and we're all good. And there's an announcement. That didn't happen. Like, he was a good player. He was a good hitter in this lineup in particular. And he wasn't healthy at all. So I feel like, this is not what we thought we were seeing in 22 and 23. It's weird because there was a little bit of a resurgence there. And a lot of times you would look at that and say, all right, one more time. But he was hurt. Like, had he not been hurt, those numbers could have been better. Pit City What, how you doing? Yeah, it is just me here tonight. Jake is traveling for the holidays. He's visiting right now. So I did ask him if he wanted to just do like a phone call. He wasn't going to be able to do the video and everything. He didn't take his whole setup with him for his trip. And like I said, we weren't really even sure we were going to do anything tonight, but it was good to do it. So yeah, Jake's not on tonight, and I don't think I'll go very long today. I mean, we've got basically Cutch, and that's about it. There have been a lot of signings around baseball. Just Pirates just aren't doing anything. So, there's not a whole lot to talk about. And it's the holiday. And, you've got your time, and I don't know where I was going with that. But either way, I think this is still a good thing. I think anytime McCutchen's going to be in a Pirates uniform and playing for the Pirates, it's going to be a good thing. That's just where I'm at with it. And it's fine if you don't agree with me. I actually, I get it. But for me, and for what McCutchen's done here, I don't know. I was kind of talking, we were talking about this the other day, and it was weird, talking to Katie, and it was weird to her. Doug, what's up? Doug's in the chat now. It was weird to her that there were people that weren't understanding of this, that weren't excited that he was going to be here another year and all that stuff. And I think it just there's a 6-year pain right now for some younger fans that does not carry the same weight as what we carried heading into 2012 and 2013 as we were getting close and getting close. Now, you could say that we had 2012, maybe we haven't had that season. I don't really know. Maybe that was actually 2023. I don't know. Didn't last as long. But either way, I think that the people that were around for a while, and I'm not even on the older side of things. I was born after the 79 World Series. And so I was a kid when in the early 90s. Andy Van Slyke was my guy. And then it was what it was for a long time. Now, I was distracted by playing baseball. I loved the Pirates, but I just it didn't matter as much, right? We were playing a lot. We followed the Pirates. Our favorite players were on the Pirates, but there was some of that wasn't live and die. Now, if they were great, I imagine it would have been different. I would imagine we would have followed them a lot more. We would have went to a lot more games, stuff like that. So, that's kind of where I'm at. But what happened in 2013 and for that little run, and let's even say 2012, because he was a special player already in 2012. The fact that he was the guy, and the fact that we got back into the postseason and we made, even if it was just one wild card game and then a good series against the Cardinals, even if that was it, we were still there. And then the years following, we just continued. The Pirates were a better team all year. And so, yes, we got eliminated in both wild card games, which we can talk about at length on why that was, sucky, and we shouldn't even have been in that situation to begin with. However, all three of those years, we would have just been in a series had they not added the wild card right before that. The 1-game wild card. We just would have been in a series and we wouldn't have to even talk about it. But there's that's a legend, and he was the guy. And for about 2-3 years, the face of Major League Baseball, not just the Pirates. And even that was during the height of Mike Trout. So I just say what you want. That's a long time ago for a lot of people. There's just not a whole lot of memories around it, and that's fine. I know how I feel about Barry Bonds, right? I was 9 years old when he played his last season in Pittsburgh, So I know how I feel about him. He was not my favorite. Matter of fact, we couldn't stand him. We hated him as a kid. So, Van Slyke was our guy. But whatever. I'm wrong in that too. Anybody older than me is you're crazy. He was the best player. But I didn't like him because he was a jerk. I didn't like him because he didn't take time out to say hi. He would cuss out kids while he was getting on the bus instead, while there were other guys signing autographs. So for me, he didn't do it for me, right? I wanted a guy that was, I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old, whatever. So no, I didn't get all that. But anyway, Cutch has never been anything like that. Cutch was not only the guy off the field, he was the guy on the field. As much as I like Brian Reynolds being here, Cutch should have never left Pittsburgh. It was one of those things. Should have never left. With all that said, he wants to play. He should be in black and gold. And that's it. So, Cheryl says, Andy was my son's favorite too. I think most kids would have went somewhere other than Bonds. If you went to any games or anything like that, that's just the way it was, right? You wanted that guy. And there were other guys too. Jay Bell was somebody, but I don't know. I don't know if it was then. I don't know where we were at there, but for me, it was Van Slyke. I was Van Slyke for Halloween for probably 4 or 5 straight years, I feel like. So, I don't know. Anyway, Pit City What says, 20 dingers ain't nothing. We need as much as we can get. He's third on the team in home runs last year. You can't, he's not a guy who pushes you to the next step, but if you lose him, then some of the guys you bring in are okay, well, they're replacing the 20 homers that Cutch hit. How are we better? You've got to try to get some back. You got to keep McCutcheon there. And I don't think he'll hit another 20. He might, but he doesn't really have to. He is a leader, despite what a lot of people say. He's not a vocal leader. He's a lead by example. I don't know, man. I find it strange that I have to make a case for Andrew McCutchen to be on the team. That's all. That's all. Doug Smith says his hot take is that 3 to 4 underperforming hitters will get fixed, and Cutch will help that. That's the thing. If Cruz all of a sudden goes from 21 to 31 homers, if Brian Reynolds pops back up in home runs to do a little bit more, maybe even gets to 30, if you add a right fielder, which we've been asking to do, who can hit 25 to 30 home runs, all of a sudden you've got a team that Cutch can help with. You know what I'm saying? That his bat does improve the lineup. Even if you don't get an outfielder, like we've been talking about Jerks and Profar the last couple shows, he's probably not a 30 homer guy. But him in that lineup, it just makes it a little bit longer, and it does give you the ability to have Cutch somewhere in the mix there, whether it's leadoff or 4 or 5 or whatever. And you start to say like, hey, the top of this lineup is dangerous. And with the pitching staff that we have right now to be our strength, this lineup could be good enough. You've got to obviously get improvements, and that's not a guarantee. You'd like to see Nick Gonzalez come out and be better than a 96 OPS plus and maybe take another step forward. That's not a guarantee. You'd like to see O'Neal Cruz with over 30 homers. That's not a guarantee. Gosh, you just hope that Joey Bart can repeat what he's done. That's not a guarantee. Will Henry Davis or Andy Rodriguez figure it out? We have no idea. I mean, they can't be in the mix at all until they show up and prove it. There's a lot Spencer Horwitz has to be what to this team? What kind of deal does that have to be? If you don't get an outfielder, Spencer Horwitz has to hit 25 homers. And I'm not sure he's that kind of player. And I think if you do get somebody else and you've got a longer lineup, and you've got Horwitz batting 6 or, my goodness, even 7, you start to see that that's a long lineup. And a guy like him is going to be good with runners in scoring position. I would definitely be putting him behind guys who could be on base. Him and Nick Gonzalez together. If you could get those guys hitting, oh my gosh, if you could get them hitting 6 and 7, I could see a lineup with McCutchen and Reynolds and Cruz and even Joey Bart, but then throw in somebody else and have Bart batting in the 5 hole and then have like Horwitz, Gonzalez after that. That's not a bad lineup. Who's left in that lineup? You've got whoever's playing third and you've got IKF. 8 and 9. Like, that's a good lineup. It's not, you don't have any thumpers. You don't have any 40. I mean, unless O'Neal Cruz turns into a 40 homer guy, which he absolutely has the ceiling to do that. Dave White says, I would only bat Cutch leadoff. I mean, Cutch batting leadoff it's a good situation. And so that's why I'm saying, like, if that's what you have, I'm happy with that. If you can start the lineup with Cutch, Reynolds, and then either get to Cruz or whoever else you sign and then go, like, that guy has to be 3-4 hitter, or he could be a leadoff hitter if that's the case. Reynolds isn't moving off 2. I think that's pretty understood. What's up, Bucko Mike? You just missed it, man. I just said that Horwitz might have to hit 25 homers. So go ahead and put your chat in here that Horwitz is going to hit 25, and we'll be set to go because I know that that's coming. Pit City What says, do you think Haig can change things enough? Like a good amount of wins? I think that the one thing that you're going to see from Haig is what they looked at in Toronto in the minor league system where he was coaching and then up into the majors, is the contact rate is very high. And that's something that this team needs. Runners in scoring position, this team was so bad. And I think that what Matt Haig brings to the table could possibly change that aspect. Andy Haynes was dead set on, this is our approach, which, by the way, is not an entirely bad approach. The problem is this is our approach and we don't waver from that. It didn't matter who was pitching. It didn't matter what the scenario was. It didn't matter if there were runners in scoring position with 1 out, 0 outs, 2 out. None of that mattered. Stay the course, stay on the approach. And I think that was the problem the whole time. You have to change what you do. We can't have runners in scoring position with nobody out and have back-to-back strikeouts, or with 1 out and have back-to-back. Either way, you have to change your approach. You've got to put the ball in play. And I think that Matt Haig will focus on that. But I also think that like getting a guy like Spencer Horwitz, who multiple years of his minor league career had more walks than strikeouts, he's not going to wow you with his bat speed. He's not going to hit 30 homers. But he could hit the ball, put it in play. Even if he gets out, it's productive outs. Oh my goodness, don't say that anymore. You're not allowed to say productive outs anymore. I mean, I like stats as much as the next guy. But, analytics, the smart analytics say there are no productive outs. Outs are outs. There are, though. You get a guy in and you score a run on a ground ball to second base or a sac fly. That is productive. It's not as productive as a base hit. I'll give you that. But it's still productive when you had a team last year that we frustratingly watched strike out, back-to-back strikeouts with runners in scoring position. Just can't handle that. Dave White, I think that's a really good idea. He says maybe you should make a bet with Mike about how many homers Horwitz will hit. I think you might actually get a bet from that. I like it. Doug brings up a good point here. In March of 2024, we thought our lineup was going to be dominant and questioned the pitching. I thought we thought starting pitching specifically was going to be the hard part of 2024. We actually thought the bullpen was going to be the strong point. And there were some questions about the lineup. I don't know that dominant as far as like for the Pirates, yes, but we still lacked power. We were hoping for an outburst from Cruz. We were thinking, man, if Sawinski can take another step forward. I don't think we expected McCutchen to hit 20 home runs though. So I think there's a little bit of, we expected Hayes to do better than be injured the whole year, and that didn't get better. So, yeah, I mean, there was some optimism in this lineup that was crushed, and some questions with the starting rotation that were answered. What I'm really hoping that you're not jinxing here, Doug, is that the starting pitching isn't good in 25. Let's keep that where it's at there. But Bucko Mike has Horwitz hitting .282 with 25 homers and 82 RBIs. I mean, if he puts those numbers up, guys. Reynolds had 24 and 88 last year. If Horwitz has 25 and 82, I mean, I feel like those numbers are possible if he's hitting 5 or 6 as far as like the comparison of home runs to RBIs, because we're talking about a guy who's going to get the RBIs, who's going to put the ball in play. I'm going to keep that up there for just one more minute, because if you nail that, first off, the Pirates have a chance of being in the postseason. If he hits 25 home runs this year, that'd be huge. So all in all, the McCutchen signing is still very good. It just doesn't change much. Every single episode we've been doing all this, right? We've never talked as if he was not going to be in the lineup. We never talked as if he was not going to be re-signed. Matt says 100% on board with Cutch, even if it's 3 games a week at DH and a bench lurker. He's still gonna have that intangible, that leadership quality where guys are going to be able to go and ask him questions. Like I said, he's not going to take over a room. That's not the kind of leader he is. But that doesn't mean he's not a leader. I just think there's enough positive here. I think it's ludicrous to think that he doesn't help this team. He's just not the guy that puts them to any new level, right? He's just there. He's always been there. And he'll help in ways that will only put a team in the postseason if the rest of his team around him is good. If whoever they get to play right field this year is good. If whoever they get to play right field can sit in the middle of this lineup and be productive and protect guys like Reynolds or Cruz, or set things up for guys like Joey Bart. I mean, if it's a lefty and you have, Reynolds who crushes lefties, and then you have two lefties in Cruz and this guy, and then you go right to Bart Gonzalez who also hit lefties, and then you flip back to Horwitz. I mean, there's a lot there. Doug asked the question, do you think Shelty might ask Cutch on his thoughts for coaching issues or changes? I don't think so. And I don't think that's something that, and that's interesting. I don't see Cutch going there. That's a good question, though. What does anybody else think? Put in the chat whether you think that Cutch maybe weighs in on maybe coaching issues or changes or, whatever it is. I personally, I don't think so. I just don't feel like that's on brand for Cutch. I feel like he just wants to go out there and play. I think Cutch playing now is like, I don't want to get it twisted. I know that I say that there's a lot of intangibles and a lot of leadership qualities that he will have. I also think that Andrew McCutchen feels like he can still play. And there's a lot of numbers that will back that up. Yeah, this is totally true. When I hear Cutch, this is Doug again. When I hear Cutch really talk hitting, he's 120% smart. And this is what the guys do, though. They're going to him constantly with questions. There's always someone talking to Cutch in the dugout, and that they're not, always just talking about random things. Like that's why I like Cutch at the leadoff spot so much. If that's the first guy that gets to see a pitcher on a day, and he gets to show them, he sees a lot of pitches, and he gets to go back to the dugout and say, watch for this, this, and this. I just think that's valuable. Bucko Mike put in here a little bit ago that Cutch last year in the leadoff spot, 252, 15 homers, 35 RBIs, which obviously in the leadoff spot, your RBIs are going to be lower. 781 OPS last year. What did he have total RBIs last year? 58. So good bit more than half here. Or when he was in the leadoff spot, which is interesting because at the leadoff spot, you've got the bottom of the order, you got to hope to be on base, and then also you're leading off the game. I mean, look at Kyle Schwarber. Jake and I were talking about it, and maybe it was after Sunday. We were talking about Kyle Schwarber with 47 home runs and didn't even have 100 RBIs, or maybe just had a 104. 47 homers, 104 RBIs. He mentioned how that was a really low number when you hit 47 homers. But he's been hitting leadoff, and we did look it up. And there was I'm trying to think of how many people there were that had, I think 45 to 50 home runs was my threshold. And then looked at all players who had a season of 45 to 50 home runs. And then we sorted it by RBIs. And Barry Bonds one year had less. But that was the year that Barry Bonds had a bajillion walks. And so he didn't have a huge opportunity to rack up on RBIs because he was constantly being walked. And so that was the only player. And I think he had 45 home runs. I'm not going to remember this exactly, but I think it was 45 and 90 or something like that. Something crazy. Because if there was guys on, they'd just walk him. Forget about it. They don't do that with Schwarber, so I think it's just the leadoff thing. But we do like that. Dave asks, if they go with this team without adding, how many more games do you expect them to win next year? It's just hard to say. It goes back to what I said a little bit ago. You're expecting Cruz to have a better year, which we were doing again last year. But you're expecting Cruz to have a better year. You're expecting somebody at third base to step up offensively just a little bit more than what we saw last year. You're expecting Nick Gonzalez to take another step, which that's the one that really gets me, because that was what we were thinking with Jack Swinsky, like take another step. And Jack Swinsky had a better year in 23 than Nick Gonzalez had in 24. So you have to be careful of that. Like, Nick Gonzalez has to show up. He's got to play the games. And so, man, it's just a lot of what ifs. You're going to get what you're going to get from Brian Reynolds. He's solid. You got to, I mean, Joey Bart was big, and we don't know that he's going to repeat. I just said all this. But I am, I'm just saying all this through my head, saying, I don't know that this team right now, Spencer Horwitz added, you're going to get, what Rowdy Tellez did for like a 3-month span was very good. Everything else was very bad. So, what do you do there? $80. I mean, they should have won $80 last year, right? They should have won $80 last year. 80 wins, maybe. They've got to add, but how does one player that you add in right field, and wins above replacement doesn't necessarily work in the same way. It's wins above replacement player. It's not just straight wins. So if a guy has 6 wins above replacement, that adds more than 6 wins, because you got to get to the replacement level. Now, granted, you're saying replacement level was already there, but our right field probably had less than replacement level last year. So right field's big, man. They can't miss on this. And if they get creative, it's going to be one of those things where we're going to say, all right, let's see how it plays out, but you didn't excite me. And they could go out and make a big splash and it might not work out. That's fine. You gotta go try to do something. You can't just not do it, right? They've got to address right field, and they've got to do it before everybody's gone. We saw Christian Walker go this week, which they've already made the Horwitz thing. So we talked about Josh Naylor. Nathaniel Lowe was traded. You've got all that stuff, but like, you're not going to do that anyway because you already have Horwitz. So scratch that. But now you're seeing Jock Peterson sign with the Rangers. We talked about Max Kepler being gone. If you were going to trade Jared Jones, which of course the report came out this week again saying here's the whole Jared Jones thing, right? They talked to the White Sox about Jared Jones at the winter meetings prior to the Horwitz deal, to the Luis Ortiz deal. And they talked Jared Jones, and it was Jarren Duran, Tristan Casas, and it said at least one of, not both of those players, but at least one of the big 3, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and Christian Campbell, who none of those guys left to get Garrett Crochet. But essentially they were saying the Pirates would have had to have gotten something of that caliber in return. And instead they went Ortiz for Horwitz, specifically saying if it was like Tristan Casas who was on the table, right? That would have made a lot of sense. And you could have bulked it up and maybe, Casas and one of these other guys. I don't think you're getting Roman Anthony from him, but maybe like a Wilyer Abreu comes in and you get Casas and Abreu, but you lose Jones and then, do something like that. Like, there's a lot to like there. You could get a lot of power that way. So I think that it was a pivot to go with a different route, to go with a different deal. Somebody's going to have to blow you away. And I'm not even sure at this point, as much as I like Heston Kjerstad, I'm not even sure that gets it done. Because you've already traded Oviedo. Or not Oviedo. Because you've already traded Luis Ortiz. Have I been saying Oviedo and not Ortiz? Because now that I slipped up, I'm afraid that I said Oviedo and not Ortiz. Luis Ortiz If I only screwed it up once, fine. If it was before that, I'm just saying right now. I'm clarifying it right now. So there's other guys. I also saw something that said that the Astros could pursue left-handed bats in the outfield in relief pitching, which is literally the same thing the Pirates are looking for. If you're a free agent out there, or you're another team trying to deal with, I think Bucko Mike's saying, yeah, you were saying Oviedo. That's my bad, guys. But if you were out there and you're specifically a free agent because that's what we're looking at. I mean, what's more enticing? If you're a left-handed bat, you're going to want to go to Houston over Pittsburgh. If you're a relief pitcher, you're probably going to want to go to Houston over Pittsburgh. Unless, of course, you're mad. Fire Queen in here. Thank you. It is the holidays. A little Oviedo screw up. Oviedo's still here. Maybe is in the rotation now. Who knows? See how he comes out at spring training. Matt says, do no available left fielders exist with Reynolds and Wright is optimal? Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been talking about the last couple episodes is the potential of Jerks and Profar. If Profar came in, I would assume Profar plays left and Reynolds moves to right field. It's a good call out. It doesn't have to be right field. It absolutely could be left field. I think a lot of us thought Tyler O'Neill would have been a good fit. He would have also went to left field. Maybe even Max Kepler. I'm not really sure defensively where he's at. I know it was good. It's maybe slid a little bit. I don't really know. But essentially, it's the same thing. We need an outfielder. Left or right. If Brian Reynolds moves to right, I think the arm works there because he's a really strong arm. But also, if you get somebody that's possibly runs better routes than Brian Reynolds, then there you go. Once again, I think Reynolds on a stat sheet looks a lot worse than Reynolds does at a game. But there were a few plays last year that I was kind of questioning the route that he took and whatever, and that can happen. He's not terrible. I don't think he's actually killing you as much as the numbers say he is. But he would be better fit in right field, even if it's just because of the arm. So, thanks, Bucko Mike says, it's the off season, Josh. So anyway, McCutchen certainly helps. They still need to do more. It was almost a sigh of relief when he signed, right? It was almost like, all right, they got that done. Let's move on. There was just that little chance of it being something different. And to be honest with you, like if you look around and say, oh, well, if he wasn't there, you could free up at bats for somebody else. And no matter who you say that's already on this team, you can't legitimately like it better than McCutchen being in the lineup. So, that's kind of the thing. Dave says, as you stated earlier, I want to see these 5 starters and see what happens. Yeah. And obviously the bullpen needs help too. These are the things that we've talked about. You know what I mean? So if it's Profar, I'm just saying after Jake brought him up, I think it would have been last Thursday. I feel like that would be a big swing. I feel like that would help this team a lot. I think it would lengthen the lineup to a point where I could feel optimistic with this pitching staff going into next year saying, all right, they did well. I would grade this as a good offseason. If they get another like Horwitz type player for the outfield, I just don't know. Horwitz is going to have to come out. Where's the message from Bucko Mike? Horwitz is going to have to come out and do what he said earlier. And every time I put these up there, now I'm struggling to find it. There it is. 282, 25 homers, 82 RBIs. If he does that, then what they did in right field could be on par with what we think, and they still would help. Getting some texts. I was just making sure that nothing was happening there. We're good. So anyway, I'm excited, at least for baseball to come back. But this front office needs to do something. Yeah, we need lefties. Tim Hill in the Pirates pen would be solid, Bucko Mike says. I don't know, man. We got our pre-Christmas deal. Now we have to get a pre-Pirates Fest deal, which, by the way, why are we doing Pirates Fest for 2 days? Anybody got an idea? Is it going to be like a mirror? Is it going to be the same event 2 straight days? Or are you going to have to try to make both days? Like, I don't think I'm doing that. I don't think I'm going to go for 2 days. And what is it going to be like? Oh, I'm going to get half the stuff on one day and then you got to come the next day just to get the other half? I don't like that. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Dang it, Bobby.
So anyway, that's all I have today. There's a lot of moves going around there. Sean Manaea went back to the Mets. I don't know. Walker Buehler signed. So any Walker Buehler hopefuls, that seems to be over. Jock Peterson's a big one for me, even though I don't know that that he's the best fit for the Pirates right now. Offensively, yes, but he's going to have to play defense. So, I don't know. You know, Doug, it's a good point. Lines for autographs were huge. I don't do lines for autographs, but this year I've, since they announced the Skeens card, apparently we're a baseball card family now, and we're doing all the baseball card stuff. I've got a bunch of Skeens cards, just base chrome Skeens cards. If he's going to be signing, do you actually wait in line and get a couple of those signed? You know what I mean? Is that something you do? And then all of a sudden your base chrome Skeens card goes up, right? Cheryl says, I'm just going Saturday. Pittsburgh Pirate Queen says it's probably going to be different things for each day, so fans are more likely to return. And Ellen also says we're not going to both. Yeah, I don't know. Matt says maybe it takes 2 days to process the Skeens extension. As much as I want to see that and think that that would be amazing, does that do it for you? Like, does that get you to Pirates Fest? Does that get you to buy your opening day tickets? Because it doesn't change anything. I'd have to think about that for a while, because it would actually change one thing. I mean, they'll do extensions, but the extension they're going to have to sign him for is going to be, it's going to be big. Yeah, this is actually it. Pittsburgh Pirate Queen says, you have to be a baseball card family now. You pulled a 1-1 Jared Jones. And I'm telling you, like, when that kind of happened, it does make things a little more interesting. That could have been any team. It's almost like Topps was like, watch this. I'm going to get these people to buy so many more cards. Sitting on, you can't see it right now, but like there is a pile. Let's see. Oh, the table's going to be in the way. There's nothing I can do. There's a pile of boxes over there that are from cards. And then I've got 2 unopened holiday packs over there because our friend Jeff is coming over Sunday. We're going to open up those. And I think we've got some more Chrome updates coming. Yeah, that's a good point. Cheryl says, not waiting in line at Pirates Fest, but I may try getting a couple things signed in Bradenton. Great idea, too. That actually could be a better play. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see if we can get a couple of our cards signed. I opened yesterday morning. I got just a hanger box of the regular 2024. Where'd I have this? I don't know. Maybe right there. of the 2024 just regular like Topps update series, and I got a blue parallel of Rowdy Tellez. So there's that. Bucko Mike says Josh is going to win a Matt Haig, Kai Tom, Victor Santos, Kip Wells, Dwayne Underwood autos giveaways. I mean, hey, look. Here's a Pirates Fest Harleen Garcia the year after he didn't pitch. Now, I didn't get this. My mom did, but then she was like, Harleen Garcia, I don't want that. So I got it just to hold here and have the cool black. Literally, I like this side better than I like this side. But yeah. Doug says they're heading down to spring training on March 12th. I believe. Let me look at the calendar here, and then I got to get out of here. I think we'll miss you. I think we're going the week before that. I feel like I'm going on a week where I could see the most games, and I feel like I'm after some people and I'm before other people. Am I doing this whole thing wrong? Like, am I going the wrong week of spring training? Doug, we're going to talk. I'm going to ask everybody. So we got to figure out when we're going to go. I don't know. Anyway, be nice to get an auto on that.
Dang it, Bobby.
Just for you, Doug. Let's do it one more time right here.
Dang it, Bobby.
We got it. All right. That's it. We're doing it all wrong. We're doing spring training wrong. I don't know. But I do have to get out of here. It's time to shut it down. If you want more, I believe NS9 is going live at 9. Go check them out. If you're listening to this not live, take the time to hit the subscribe button. Go over to YouTube, hit subscribe too, so you know when we're going to go live next time, which will be Sunday. So, thanks, guys. Always appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Talk to you again Sunday. Let's go, Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.